Welcome back to MMA Unhinged, and joining us today is Jose Shorty Torres. Shorty, welcome back, and it seems like third time's the charm.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully, knock on wood. For me, and if you don't know, it's actually I just found this out because I did an interview right before this. Is it's actually going to the third continent. So we fought in two different continents so far, and now we're going to another one. So being able to get that privilege, man, it's so cool. And to fight someone in a new place and get a chance of redemption. I mean, what more could I ask for?
Yeah, a trilogy in three continents. Can you get any better? You're making Brave FC history as well, so that you got that as well.
Yeah, I'm making a trilogy. I also might be the first ever, and God willing or inshallah, as they say, knock on wood, once again, I might be the first ever two-time bantamweight champion for Braves. So I might make history, twice in one day. And for me, it's a chance of redemption. I'm going to a new place and a chance of redemption. Again, there's nothing more I could ask for. And I've always wanted to go to Africa. I'm gonna fight in front of his people. I like to be the underdog. I like, in a sense, the world against me, especially for my fights. It gives me something to fight for. So and again, this is, I think, my 41st or 42nd fight coming up. So you get very content. So me losing, especially the way I did having to retire because of the cuts, it's like, man, it really does light a fire under me where I'm like, okay, I really do still care about the sport. Let's get back after it and redeem myself.
Well, before we go any further, thank you for taking the time in. I know you just said you just did another interview, so you're going through another one here. So I'll try not to ask the same questions. So yeah, you kind of talked a little bit of retirement. So you talked a little bit about the cuts. So what kind of happened? What talk about the story behind that and kind of what happened about making the trilogy fight and how you got away from that.
Yo, for me, I didn't believe he deserved a rematch because he wasn't champion. It was a vacant belt. I ended up winning the fight. Okay, cool. You want to fight again? Fight someone, beat him, and then redeem your spot. And there you go. And I think that's the fair thing. But Brave is like, hey, you know what? It was a very close fight. Maybe I don't know, but maybe they didn't have another guy immediately in line, or they had a guy and it wasn't going to work out. So they're like, let's get this rematch going. We might as well have this happen. So
Mm-hmm.
we made the rematch in Bahrain, which is like a second home to me. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm in front of my people. But I'm also very careless about it because I'm like, I already beat this guy in the fight. It wasn't as hard as I expected it to be. He grabbed me before I grabbed him. So no matter what I was going to throw him, I dominated him on the ground. So I wasn't excited for the match, especially because I'm
Mm-hmm.
fighting. And I'm not saying he's not a good opponent. He's a good opponent. He just doesn't have a name. So for me, and especially even to the world resume wise, there's no recordability for me. It's like, I'm just fighting another guy who's ready to take my head off. And again, it's not any bash towards him. He's not known, but it doesn't mean he's not good. Look, when I beat Amir Albazi, no one knew about him, even though he was 12-0. But now he's number 2 or 3 in the UFC, next for a title shot, given he's injured. But these guys are very, very dangerous. Hell, Ilya Tempora, Kazma. There's more that came from Brave that are now champions or title contenders right there. So these
Mm-hmm.
guys are tough, but it wasn't notable to me. So I'm going to this fight like I'm half-assing it, enjoying myself. I'm here in Vegas, obviously going out to strip, enjoying myself. Still training very, very hard, but maybe not taking things as seriously, not sleeping enough, and just mingling and doing too much. My mind is everywhere. Then I get to this fight. I'm like, all right, cool. Make weight, whatever. It is what it is. Normal routine. And I get into the fight and I'm just very relaxed. And I go in there throwing away the game plan that I know I should do. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna beat him. I'm not worried about it. He's gonna tire out on me and I'm gonna start coming back. And he starts, kinda outboxing me in the beginning. I was like, oh, cool. He's not trying to grapple me. Cause the first fight, he would grab me before I grabbed him. And that was, in a sense, a smart game plan. The only problem is I'm a judoka. So you grab me and I'm a counter fighter. You grab me, I'm throwing you. And that's what happened majority of the first fight. But this time
Mm-hmm.
he would push, he would elbow, he'd keep my hands busy. And I'm like, all right, this is a little different, but I don't need to move my head. I'm just gonna walk forward. He's gonna gas out. I'm gonna outwork him, and then I'll take him down and beat him up. But inevitably, even though his punches to me weren't hurting, and another reason why I got so egotistical of not moving my head, I'm like, I can take these shots. I'm fine. My eye is slowly swelling up. And I don't notice it. I'm just kind of going from there. My team is telling me to wrestle. I'm like, I don't need to wrestle. I'll be fine. I don't want to be that guy that's like, he's losing the stand of battle. Let's wrestle. But again, I'm forgetting that it's an MMA fight. This is what you're supposed to be doing, of just mixing it up. And taking shots, and there's one good jab that lands and it cuts me. And I don't know how my cuts look at the time, but this cut opens up really, really big to where like you can pull a flap off. Like that's how it opened. It wasn't like a slice. It was, you can pull this thing off. And I'm bleeding all over, and my left eye is my dominant eye. So when I'm fighting like this, I'm like, cool, but now the blood's here. I can't see anything coming, especially his jabs. So I need to turn my head. He was throwing elbows the entire fight, not landing because I saw them. But now I'm compromised. My vision is compromised. I've turned my head, turned my position, and he finally lands a good elbow on me, and it cuts me on this side. Coincidentally, all the blood starts going on this side. I'm like, oh my gosh, my ego is broken right now. This guy is panicking. In my head, I'm panicking. But before that, he was starting to tire out. He's starting to gas out. I'm landing body shots. I'm landing significant strikes. I think I rocked him, twice or three times in the fight. I remember kicking him off his feet, and I was like, dude, get up. I don't care if you're on the ground. I'll beat you on your feet. Like I'll beat you at your style. I got very egotistical in the fight, and now I'm bleeding on both eyes. And now my ego's like, yeah, we gotta go. And I'm just like, oh gosh, this is very unfortunate. And now I'm taking desperate shots. And I remember I took one shot, which I knew he knew it was coming. And I was like, all right, but let me shoot under the knee because I might run into it. Let me do like an ankle shot. And I remember not being able to see, but like feeling his footsteps. I'm like, all right, cool, it's right there. I shoot in, I grab the leg, but as I grabbed the leg, you just felt his other knee like slowly like graze my braids that I had at the time. Like I felt the wind of the knee, and I was just like, didn't see it at all coming, because I can't see, but I'm just like, oh god, I get the takedown, but he gets up, super slippery, we're all bloody, sweaty, and then the ref stops it, pulls me to the side, and the doctor's looking at me. And now the doctors like me, we're all friends, and they know it's a title fight. So they go, well, like, let's have him fight a little more. And if it gets worse, we'll immediately stop it because I guess the cuts were that bad. They're like, can you see? I tell the truth. I'm like, I can't see, but I'm ready to fight. Let's go. And these guys are like, all right, cool. Let's bring him back in there. And in my head, I'm like, stop the fight. Like I can't see at all. But the ref looks at me. He's like, all right, well, let's go back in there. And in my head, I was like, you know what, man? Let me give myself one more minute because I legit can't see. I have multiple pictures of me like rubbing my eyes out. And I don't know where you're from, but if you drive in the winter with really bad windshield wipers while ice is on them, dude, it makes it worse. And that's how it
Yeah.
was. Even when I was wiping my eyes, it was like it just made the vision worse. I was like, I can't see whatsoever. So I was like, let me give myself one more minute to try to do something. But he landed pop shots. You can tell he was being nice with me, and I was like, man, like no mas, the whole no mas, Roberto Duran, Wayne Falls, Sugar Ray Leonard. I was like, as much as I don't want to quit, I'm a man, I'm a warrior, all that stuff. It's not safe to go out on my shield and go, cool, knock me out and it's over. Or I have a broken jaw or a broken limb or ligaments on it. Like I've had multiple surgeries and injuries, man. I don't want to deal with that again. You know what? I'd rather lose. I'm the champion. I should get a rightful rematch because I gave him one. It is what it is. And I took the bait. I was like, you know what, man? I'm out. I'm done. And then after we agreed on the rematch, it took a little longer to get it signed than I expected. But the fight's signed, and we're going to Mauritius. We're going to Africa. So I get the chance of redemption. And this is the first time I've hired people to be a part of my camp. I'm very cheap. I was like, I'm just gonna use whatever's around. And for me, I was like, no, man, I didn't know how mad I was until I hit the bag again. I took a month off to just relax, de-stress, let my cuts heal. And I went to the gym, a local gym, to just hit the bag. And I was like, let me
Hmm.
punch the bag. And dude, I almost had a heart attack because of like how hard I was hitting this bag and how hard I was working. One, I was fat and happy, so it's definitely down of a heart attack, probably some diabetes. But I was just going after it, and I didn't know how much stress and anger I had from, in a sense, giving up in the fight. So I was just like, huh, wow, I guess I really do care about this sports though, because again, this is my 41st or 42nd MMA fight. I've had a bunch. Like you get content after a while. So for me, having to fight this guy again, I'm not a fan of it. But man, it's a redemption fight for me. So I'm more than excited, and I think this is the most excited I've been for a fight ever. So I've trained extremely hard, so where I actually had to take 3 days off because of how hard I've been training.
Well, you mentioned fighting this guy for the third time, and you know what to expect.
Hmm.
So how have you approached this fight camp differently than you have the last two times? Is it I mean, you talked about now you're spending a little bit more money and now you're actually paying to have these people come in for your camp. So is that what you've been doing differently, or are you looking to approach training differently? What's going on there?
The biggest thing is I usually train by myself. Like I'm like Mr. T in Rocky 3. Like I have somebody there holding myself, and that's pretty much about it. Or I use whoever's in the gym, and that's pretty much about it. So for me, I train with everyone. I have high level guys, but I don't have coaches. It's not that I don't really like people. Some people might not be my style, and that's natural. It is what it is. But I also don't really trust many people. A lot of people are just after money. And so after I helped corner Lazy Boy for his UFC debut in Mexico,
Yeah.
there was a guy there named Mike Gonzalez, that just he was a great coach. We became buddy buddy. I coached him as well while he was down there for just different things. And I was like, hey Mike, I honestly don't want you a part of my camp. That's why I want you part of my camp. Because I know that you will tell me to do stuff that I don't want to do because it's stuff that I need to do. I just know when I train by myself, hey man, if I'm tired, I could snooze my alarm for 20 more minutes, or I could kind of push back this run a little bit, keep myself accountable. I could do, but after a while, man, especially when you start cutting weight, you start becoming a little bit of a drama queen and do certain things, or at least I do. So I was like, let me hire Mike, let me bring him in, we'll work out together. I know he's getting ready for a fight after this, or hopefully so. And man, and he's telling me what to do of stuff that I have been needing to do. I've just been ignoring it, so he's making me do stuff. I'm one of those people that I'll do anything. But if you tell me to do it and you make me do it, I'm like, well, I guess I have no choice. Compared to everything
Yeah.
else, I can prolong it, procrastinate. I'm a chronic, you know, what was it? Chronic procrastinator. There you go.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those guys that just I don't like doing certain stuff. So for me, that's the biggest part of my camp is having someone there keeping me accountable, not just with my training, but also my sleep schedule. I usually don't sleep well. I'm one of those guys that, oh, I'll stay up until 4 in the morning, and I gotta wake up at 7 to go train. Like he's making me sleep, he's making me eat correctly. My weight's already good. Um, this is stuff I need to do. Plus, he wants to be in shape and train well. He's around my age as well, so he wants to get in fight shape too. So he goes, dude, whatever you're doing, I'm doing. So having somebody struggle there with you is for
Hmm.
mentally is a really really cool thing. And then just also being more open to stuff, talking to more
Yeah.
fighters and training differently, training with Apache more, training specifically for this opponent, the tall guys. I trained with Mads Burnell the first 2 weeks. He's getting ready for his PFL debut, and it's
Yeah.
not that he's taller, but I was like, man, Mads works. He is a conditioning guy, and if you don't work with him, he will drop you. Like he will beat you up, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna go spar with him. And I sparred with him for 2 weeks. One day we sparred 5 rounds straight. I was like, I just need this for my conditioning. And then we both threw at least 150 punches a round for 5 rounds, and we kicked each other's asses, and it was amazing. It was the most fun sparring I've ever had. That after I sparred with him, I was like, dude, sparring with anybody else is just boring to me. It's not as exciting. So I'm doing a lot of things, and it's been a lot of fun, man. It's been a very very positive camp.
Excellent. You talked a little bit about this a while back about Nkosi ducking you. Do you still feel that way, or do you maybe put yourself in his shoes and maybe perhaps there's that fatigue of wanting that trilogy fight and wanting to fight someone different?
I mean, it is definitely fatigue because we've been training for each other for a year and a half. I know him personally. He's not scared, especially with his upbringing in Africa, dude. He's not scared of anybody. If he has to fight me 10 times, he'll do so, especially for money. Why not? But the fact is, contracts and being able to fight someone beneficial. And I think fighting me, especially twice, is a very beneficial thing to him, because it's not that saying like a lot of people go, oh, Shorty got cut and had to give up because of that. He got lucky. Hey, lucky or not, like he cut me. So job well done. He won the second fight. No matter what, he won the second fight. But I think to
Hmm.
be a true champion and to be I guess, a true athlete, a true fighter, to go, hey man, I beat him because of the cuts. I want no excuses next fight. So I have to beat him twice. Even if I cut him again and I win that way, I cut him again and I won that way. So I brought that into the fight and I did it twice. That ain't luck. You don't do things twice out of luck. You do things twice because you're that good. And I think for him, it's a very beneficial thing, especially because I'm an American. I have the name, Brave promotes the hell out of me. So I think it's beneficial. For me, I think solely it's to get the belt, create history of 3 fights in 3 different continents, first ever two-time bantamweight combat federation champion, and also in a sense redeem my name to a person that doesn't have a name yet. And again, it's not bashing him. It's not saying he's not good. Obviously, he beat me, so he has to be good in some sort of way. The fact of he just doesn't have a name yet. So for me, I don't think it's as beneficial as for him. But for me, mentally and personally, it's a redemption type of fight, and that's the way I'm looking at it.
And let's say that you win this upcoming fight. Are we looking past the fourth fight, and are you looking for would you be looking for another opponent? I don't think we would want another Figueiredo and Moreno 4 kind of style matchup going on.
No, no, I don't see a reason for it. It's 1-1. Now, if there was a draw in the play, okay, cool. Let's figure this stuff out. It could be the whole Pacquiao
Hmm.
Marquez fight, but too much of a good thing could also turn into a bad thing. Hey, apple a day is good, but you start having two or three, you're having a lot of sugar now, so it could be bad for your
Hmm.
health. So I think for me, and regardless for both of us, no matter how the fight goes, even if it wins by a split decision or whatever the case may be, a win's a win, and you take it as it is. It doesn't matter if you win the race by an inch or you win the race by a mile. A win's a win. So for me, whoever wins, we move on to the next best thing, and that's defending a belt against another notable opponent, whoever is next in line, not somebody that's popular. Yeah, I want to fight someone who's next in line who deserves a shot. I don't like the whole this guy's popular, so he gets the opportunity. The whole who's fighting Pantoja for the flyweight belt? The guy who just won by a
Steven
knockout.
Erstick.
you
Steven
know, I'm
Erstick.
I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, and I'm not saying he can't beat Pantoja, but I don't believe he deserves a title fight over, Muhammad Mokaev, who was right there, ready in line. So I don't want to fight the guy who's more popular or who has highlight reels. No, I want to fight the guy who's next in line, who deserved, that spot there.
Hmm.
So whoever it is, and I know they have people waiting for us. So I want to get this fight done as fine as soon as possible. But obviously, we'll see how my health is. Obviously, I still have cuts healing and all that stuff. So hopefully, inshallah, God willing, everything goes well. But man, I'm focused on him, and then whatever happens to that, happens after that happens.
Well, let's take a step back here. You just talk about recovering from the cuts. So, obviously, besides the physical factor that you
Mhm.
had to go through recovering, was there anything else that you did? Whether did you just go and have fun? Did you get your mind off of it? Was there anything you did in your spare time, mentally recovering, or was there anything that you did to just get away from the fight and just take time for yourself?
Man, I've been traveling a lot, but I've been doing like military tours. I've been doing stuff to promote promotions. I've been helping Lazy Boy for his fight in UFC Mexico. So literally right after the fight, I just started training again. I was out of the gym, like from hitting the bag and punching people and all that stuff, because I just didn't want that environment. I just wanted to stay in shape. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually, my first sparring round was against Lazy Boy in Mexico, getting him ready for the fight. And I was very timid, very nice because I had the cuts. I had to buy, the boxer headgear with the little face guard, just in case. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember Brave started promoting Nkosi. This is before the trilogy even got announced or even signed for that matter. And I'm like, hey man, we said we are gonna do the trilogy. Where's the contract? I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for this. And they started promoting Nkosi. Obviously, he's saying whatever he needs to do to promote himself, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm pissed. And I remember sparring with Lazy that day, and Mike, my coach here, he was telling me, he goes, hey man, you can go a little harder on Lazy. You don't have to be so nice. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I saw the thing of Nkosi, and I'm a little at the time I was a little bit bigger than Lazy because he was cutting weight to flyweight. And dude, I remember at times in rounds, like Mike would tell me, he goes, "Hey, relax a little bit." Like I was like, "I'm sorry." I was just really angry from all the promotion and all this stuff. It's a lot of flashbacks that pissed me off, because I didn't fight at my best, or I don't believe so. I took it again as a sparring match, and I got beat up for it, rightfully so. So for me, I know he's dangerous. I know what he can do, and now I have these
Mm-hmm.
cuts, dude. And he's very skinny, bony. This is the Wish version of Israel Adesanya versus Calvin Gastelum too. But we're doing a third fight, so
Mm-hmm.
he's very dangerous, especially now that he's adding tools, training in Bali, adding elbows, and he's so sharp with his bones that I can get cut from the first punch. So for me, I can't wait. So that's another thing I've been doing in my training is just starting fast. Putting the pressure, being an MMA fighter. That doesn't mean I have to wrestle, but mixing it up, maybe even look like I'm gonna wrestle. So I've been doing a lot of things, and I'm really excited to like put everything out there.
Yeah, and when you got to corner your friend there, uh, obviously UFC Mexico, it was a crazy event. I know you got to corner and everything. Did you get a chance to see the crazy fights that was going on in the crowd? I didn't watch the event itself, but I watched after, and there was a big fight in the crowd, and even Dana White was going crazy, and he's like, like shit's great. Like it was just nuts. Did you get a chance to witness all
I
that?
I didn't get to see it. We pretty much left. We lazy just wanted to eat. And so if for people who don't know, UFC fighters can't go back out into the crowd. We either go to the green room to watch the UFC fights because they have food there, or you leave. Those are the only two options you have. You can't stay there and just do nothing. You have to go in this room to watch the fights, which is very secluded, or you just go home. So we just went home. We're like, man, we're gonna grab food, do this. His family was there, and we just enjoyed the rest of the night. We saw none of the fights after that. So
Hmm.
for us, we were just doing our thing, and then we saw that there was fights in the crowd. For people who don't know, and again, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the guy who was knocking people out, and the reason why security didn't stop the fight is because those people that were knocking people out were part of the cartel. So the security wasn't even. They're like, yeah, we'll just wait, you know. And also, and I think as Mexican people in general, we're just like, you know what? Let them fight it out, and once it's over, it'll be easier to handle. Instead
Hmm.
of let's go stop these really aggressive people punching and swinging
Yeah.
all over the place where I might get hurt. So there was two things. I heard again, it could be a rumor that they were part of the cartel, and that's why the security was like, yeah, let's just let them fight, let them solve the problem. Once it's over, and we'll just take it from there. Or it's just easier to handle when things are done. It's like, all right, let's kick these guys out. We can drag them out of here.
For sure, for sure. Now let's talk about your fight. I know you're rocking the purple today, and I know you got that touched up. You going for any different colors? Maybe blue, pink. Maybe go
Nah,
for a little bit of
man.
a Sugar Sean style, or what's going on?
No, purple's my color, man. It was my father's gang colors. When he passed
Hmm.
away, it was an homage to him because that's when I see purple, I always thought of my father. So, for
Yeah.
me, I really enjoyed purple. I think it really is in a sense my blood. My father's name is Shorty G. My nickname is technically Little Shorty G or Little Shorty G. That when he passed away, now I'm just Shorty. So for me, I took everything from my father. So I took the purple hair. Plus, I use that as another reason. I love Dragon Ball Z. In the manga, Vegeta has Ultra Ego, and Ultra Ego has purple hair now. So I'm just like, he has purple hair. My dad passed away, to homage to him. Might as well have some fun and do a thing for Dragon Ball Z as an homage that I usually do. And especially now with the Kira Toriyama, let's keep the purple hair. And honestly, dude, I wish I would have done this earlier in my career. I thought I was gonna go bald when I was in like my 20s. So I was like, wait, my hair's still here? Oh, might as well use it before I lose it. So for me, and I'm gonna still knock on wood just in case, but the fact is, and I guess I take a little bite off of Jillian Robertson. Like she's had red hair since she's entered the UFC. I remember her telling me, she goes, that was the reason why I got to the Ultimate Fighter house. No one knew me. I had an record, but I was the girl with red hair. And then, like, even now that I mentioned her in the UFC, I'm like, yeah, she has the most flyweight wins or submissions, or just submissions for women in general. And they're
Yeah.
like, "Who?" And I'm like, "The girl with the red hair." They're like, "Oh, yeah, 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 I know her." It's like, yeah. So anytime I walk around, people are like, this is why I also can't commit a crime because if I do something, like, "Oh, the guy with the purple hair," I'm like, "Ah, damn it," So overall, man, it's been pretty cool that no matter what, I get recognized. The only problem is, and the only flaw for me personally, I think being from Chicago, and shout out to Stay Beautiful Chicago, is Chicago's a very, I wouldn't say ghetto, but like if you stare at somebody too long, people will check you. Like if I'm staring at you just kind of randomly, even if I'm not looking at you mean, I'm just kind of looking at you. People are like, dude, what are you looking at? Like they'll get mad at you. Like they'll take offense to it, like it's disrespect. The only problem is, naturally I grew up the same way. You look at me too long, I'm like, yo, what's your problem? Like, is there something we need to take care of or what's up? I have purple hair now. I forget that I have purple hair now, and it's obviously decently big and it's spiked up, so people are gonna stare, and sometimes people
Yeah.
double take. They do like, "Did I see purple? Oh, damn, it is purple hair," and they'll look at me twice, and I'm like, "Yo, what's your? Oh, I'm sorry, that's my problem. I have purple hair. My bad." Like you're gonna stare. That's me. That's me. That's my own personal issues.
Yeah, and I guess like talking about the fight itself now, I'm just gonna move on. Yeah,
Yeah,
looking at this upcoming fight, obviously you talk a little bit about it being a trilogy and what you've done in this upcoming fight camp and what you need to do differently. So, do you feel like there's any sort of pressure, maybe trying to get that big knockout, or just a dominant decision or a dominant performance to leave no doubt and maybe close that chapter on this trilogy?
it's tons of pressure because for me, I want to fight notable names. And Brave right now might not have any notable names right now in my weight class because most of the notable names are in the States and whatever promotions that are promoted in the States. Sadly, if you're not in the States, you're not promoted as well. Like some people know Adriano Moraes, but if you're a big MMA fan, ONE FC, and then Demetrius Johnson
Hmm.
beats him or loses to him, now people know Adriano Moraes. So people are obviously using my name. But for me, it's a statement for redemption for myself, but also I know how good I am. This is finally my
Hmm.
opportunity to show it because I am pissed. I am upset that of how the way I lost. And it wasn't because, and again, yes, kudos to him. Phenomenal job. But I lost because of me, because I wasn't taking him seriously. And that's 100% my fault. So for me, I know the things I can do. I just get lazy. I enjoy myself too much. I dumb myself down to make things more fun. So with that being said, and even if the statement sounds cocky, then I have to show how the reason why I am this cocky, why I believe in
Hmm.
myself so much. So I have to make a statement, but I also want to fight notable names. So if I beat him, regain the belt, I'm not saying I'm leaving and going to a different promotion that has notable names, but Brave has done collaborative events with other promotions where they have notable fighters. Hell, they've sent former Brave champions to the PFL to compete. And I would love to be a collaborative, athlete to be able to do that. Maybe one day go to PFL, and if they do another, if they do a bantamweight tournament next year, which so far they're saying they're doing it, but they said that for this year, last year, so you never know. Is maybe I'll fight Patchy Mix one day. Maybe I'll fight Danny Seventino, Otello, Juan Archuleta, all the guys in that Bellator Grand Prix tournament when it happened. But a mixture of athletes for the PFL. Maybe I'll be a part of that. But until then, I have work to do in Brave, and then I have to talk to Brave to see if they'll even do the collaborative thing again because I want to fight notable names. I'm a fighter that I don't care how tough these people are. I want the recognition that I fought these people. And these people could be Patchy Mix, Kyoji Horiguchi, Sergio Pettis,
Hmm.
and I say that honorably. I'm not saying that because I believe I can beat them and they're nothing or I don't respect them. I want to fight them. I respect them that much, and that's why I want to fight them.
Of course, of course. And I guess like looking at this matchup now, I think you're talking about how you're fixing all the mistakes that maybe you made in the second fight,
Mhm.
and looking at this third fight, do you, how do you see this last fight going down? Like, how do you see the third fight going down between you and your opponent?
The crazy thing is, and I found this out in the first fight. I should have really realized it more in the second fight. It's just this guy is exhausted. He does melt away pretty fast. The problem is I didn't take advantage of it. In the second fight, I was like, oh, he's dying out. I'm slowly coming back, and then I got cut. I'm like, huh. I was waiting for him. I shouldn't wait for him to get tired. Like, yes, I push the pace, stuff like that, but I need to try to push the pace. I need to put more effort into it. I obviously want to finish. That's the biggest thing because I want to put the nail in the coffin, as you want to say. But I just want to make a statement for myself, whether it's a 5 round decision dominant win or I knock them out or choke them out in the first round. Like I just want to get a dominant win, but also show that I'm a full, well-rounded MMA fighter, not just some guy walking forward taking shots and hopefully this guy tires out and then I beat him up. So for me, the first fight, he was long. I was able to get a hold of him, grab him, throw him, and dominate on the ground. The second fight, he pushed me away. I wasn't able to get a hold of him, so I decided to stand up to him. The problem was I wasn't moving my head, I wasn't moving my body, I wasn't kicking more, I wasn't mixing my wrestling into play, even if it was a fake. So I need to be a well-rounded MMA fighter, and for me, I just want to show how dominant and how good I really am.
I mean, obviously you didn't want to lose that second fight. I mean, nobody likes losing, but do you feel like maybe with that loss you learned so much and you gained so much more from a loss than maybe just I don't want to say easy win, but a quick easy win over a guy that you've already beaten before?
No, you need to lose. As much as I hate losing, I also grew up losing. I was literally the
Hmm.
shorty in every team. I was the small guy that should have been in the smaller divisions because I wasn't their height, I wasn't their weight, their size, but I
Hmm.
was in their age group. So all these guys hit puberty, and I hit puberty in my late teens, 18, 19, and finally didn't come to like my body until like 20, 25, all that stuff. And I'm like, oh man, I can't compete with these guys. I can't do well. And for me, I grew up losing, so I was always a small guy. So losing helped make me that much better. So by the time I became the average height of everyone else, or around the same height, I was so much better. You look at Demetrius Johnson in almost every fight he's in. He's a small guy, but he's that much better because of how technically sound he is, because of how small he is. He had to adapt, and for me, I had to adapt. So for me, losing, I know I lost my first amateur fight because of that. I went 33 straight wins. If I didn't lose that amateur fight, that first one, I would more likely lost my second one or the third one. It would have happened because I was a cocky person. When I lost against Alex Perez, and given I had my reasons for that, it still taught me a lot because one, I should have stayed in shape. I shouldn't have had to do a crazy last minute weight cut. I should have not taken my home stuff to work and bring my problems to work with me. I should have mentally been a little more stable and prepared in many different ways. But because of those losses, it helped me become more mentally stable. Go see a therapist, work on things, help take care of my weight better, help train smarter, not be as cocky. But then the only problem is you also forget your pain. Inevitably, you're like, I'll be fine. Like, it wasn't that bad. I survived it. I can do it again. And then it happens again, especially the last fight where I get cocky, I get arrogant. And now it's not just losing by a split decision like I lost my amateur debut. I'm losing because I have to give up. I lost because of me. Like, yeah, given it still would probably win his way because I couldn't see. But the fact is, I gave up. So the thing is, it showed how cocky I was, and I had to humble myself. But the way I'm humbling myself is in my training and pushing myself because I want to show how good I really am, but I have to prove it to myself again.
Yeah, as much as you have an opponent in front of you in the octagon, you are the opponent for yourself. You're fighting yourself in there as well.
No matter what, everyone says, it's like what's the saying? It's like if you can't handle the heat, don't stay in the kitchen. It's like
Yeah.
people say they can do this, do that until they get to that moment and they're like, oh my God, they start panicking. It's them. I'm a very, very calm person. Hell, even when my eyes were bleeding, I couldn't see. I was a very calm person. I wasn't like just swinging and doing dumb stuff. I was trying to be smart. But then eventually I'm like, all right, this isn't smart at all, to a certain extent. It's like, all right, we gotta throw in the towel. So for me, um, I'm excited to this last fight taught me a lot, and it's mainly about myself and how much I actually really do care about this fight business and how I should take
Hmm.
every fight seriously, not just go because I beat him. I can easily beat him again. I do believe I can beat him again. I don't believe it's going to be easy, and I hope it's not easy. No one wants an easy fight, especially if you're training 2, 3 months, paying extra money and doing this. This training sucks, dude. But the fact of getting there and winning a hard
Hmm.
fought fight, it's going to be the best reward possible.
Of course. And I don't want to take too much more of your time. Obviously, this fight's going to be in May. We
Mhm.
know the thrill and agony of every fight in MMA. But in a perfect world, how quickly would you like to get back in there in just a perfect world?
For me, I've been trying to fight 3 times a year. Sadly, with Brave, they really only put me in the big events. I do get paid more, so I understand the reasons, but I want to fight as much as possible.
Hmm.
So if Brave and I can figure out something to fight again in September, I would love to do that because I know they have another event at the end of the year in Bahrain, and more than likely I'm in that event. So I don't want to fight in just December and fight twice a year. My profession is a professional athlete or a professional fighter. So that's what I want to do. Yes, I make money in other avenues with different streams of resources, but
Yeah.
I want to fight. For me, I'm 31. I'm still in my prime. So August I'll be 32, still in my prime. So I want to really showcase that, and I want to take advantage of what I still can.
Excellent, Shorty. Again, I don't want to take much more of your time. I can hear the noise in the background there,
Yeah,
so it's
the
good
kids are
time to
all
wrap
playing,
up.
having a good time.
Good time to wrap up. So, again, I won't take much more of your time. I know you have a fight in about a month, so thanks again for taking the time. It's always a pleasure having you on, Shorty, and just good luck in May.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited for people who don't have a chance. It's going to be live and free on YouTube on Braves Combat Federation's channel. So all you got to do is subscribe. It'll be live there. And it's going to be a show. And I'm really, really excited for it. I appreciate your love and support, man. Thank you.